Hello, dear students. I hope all of you will be fine. Welcome to the video lecture regarding The Wasteland by T.S.Eliot. And in this video lecture, we will discuss its section 2, a game of chess. Before discussing the text of the poem, we will have a short introduction about the poem, a game of chess. This is part 2 of the poem The Wasteland, and in part 1, as you know, we discussed about the burial of the dead, and in this part we will discuss about the second section of The Wasteland, which title is A Game of Chess. So in the introduction we come to know a game of chess is a device used by Middleton in the play entitled Women Beware Women, where this game is played to hide the seduction of a girl by a nobleman. In this section, the poet indicates the failure of sex relationship in the modern world. Sex has become a purely physical kind of entertainment and has lost its moral and social purpose. Sex perversities, both in high and low life, have become a matter of mechanical routine. So this approach of the modern society is being presented in this part of the poem by T.S.Eliot. And now we will just have a brief going through the interpretation and critical appreciation and development of thought regarding the poem. Then we will discuss in detail the text of the poem. The first scene is laid in the drawing room of a fashionable lady called the Lady of Situations, who is an expert in sex intrigues. Her drawing room is gorgeous and smells of voluptuousness. The paintings and other works of art refer to stories of ancient love and rape. The story of Philomel, the raped girl who was transformed into Nightingale, is a symbol of purification through sufferings, but in the modern times, love has degenerated into lust, and there is no hope of regeneration. So the poet actually is having a comparison and contrast between the ancient approach towards this natural object and the modern approach. The Lady of Situations is waiting for her lover, who arrives after some time. She complains of headache, which is representative of nervous breakdown of a modern woman. After some petty conversation, the lady wishes to run out into the streets. Her empty, aimless routine represents the barren life of a modern woman. She has to follow the dull routine: hot water bath in the morning, a game of chess in the club in the afternoon, and then rest. One is reminded of the aimless running of rats among the dead bones. Now, in the second part of the poem, of this section, we are told about sex in real life. The second scene shifts to a tavern where two ladies talk about the sex matters. Lil's husband has come back from the army after 4 years. He wants an active sex life. The Lady of the Rocks advises Lil to look young and pretty to retain the love of her husband. Otherwise, there are many other girls who will give company to her husband. Lil is getting old, and she cannot satisfy her husband. Moreover, her last abortion has ruined her health. She is afraid of repeated motherhood. She is confused and frustrated. The conclusion of the poem is that the idea behind the tavern scene is that marriage is meant for regulation and discipline of sex instinct and not for excessive sex relationship. The perversion of sex has made modern life barren and desolate. So this is the phenomenon that has been discussed by T.S. Eliot in this poem, right? Now we will move forward towards the text of the poem along with the paraphrasing, right? So all of you must focus on the text, that how it moves forward, and you must have the introduction in your mind and the theme that we have discussed. The chair she sat in, like a burnished throne, glowed on the marble, where the glass held up by standards wrought with fruited wines, from which a golden Cupidon peeped out. Another hid his eyes behind his wing, doubled the flames of 7 branches candelabra, reflecting light upon the table as the glitter of her jewels rose to meet it from satin cases poured in rich profusion. Side by side, we also see the paraphrasing of the lines. This is the description of the drawing room of that lady. The Lady of the Rocks, Belladonna, sat in a royal chair which looked a polished throne. The reflection of the chair could be seen on the marble floor. The looking glass was supported by pillars which had the designs of fruits and grapes carved on them. A golden image of Cupid hung from one of the pillars. Cupid is actually the god of sexual love in Greek mythology. Its image was on one of the pillars. Another small image of Cupid could be seen peeping out behind the wing of the golden Cupid. The flames of the 7 candles burning in the chandelier were reflected in the mirror. The double reflection appeared on the shining table where the glitter of the jewels of the lady, which stood in their satin boxes, added to their brilliance. Actually, there were the fragrances of perfumes and all these things that embellished that room. In vials of ivory and colored glass, unstoppered, lurked her strange synthetic perfumes, unguent, powder, and liquid troubled, confused and drowned the sense in odors, stirred by the air that freshened from the window. These ascended in flattening the prolonged candle flames, flung their smoke into the liquoria, stirring the pattern on the coffered ceiling. The bottles of ivory and colored glass were opened, and they gave out a strange fragrance of synthetic perfumes. The makeup of the lady consisted of creams, powders, and liquids. All these gave out a dizzy fragrance, which drowned the sense in odors. The fragrance was disturbed by the air, which came fresh from the windows, and as it went up, it fattened the long-lasting candle flames and turned their smoke towards the ceiling, thereby disturbing the patterns carved therein, the ceiling. The situation, the whole scenario of the room and the house of that lady is being presented. Huge sea, wood fed with copper, burned green and orange, framed by the colored stone, in which sad light a curved dolphin swam. Above the antique metal was displayed as though a window gave upon the Sylvan Sea. Sylvan scene. The change of Philomel, the barbarous king, so rudely forced, yet there the nightingale filled all the desert, filled all the desert with an inviolable voice. And still she cried, and still the world pursues. Jug, jug, to dirty ears. Now, another situation is being presented. The logs of seawood along with copper pieces, burnt in the fireplace, were panelled by colored stone. The flames appeared green and orange, and in the dim light thereof was seen the carving of a swimming dolphin. Now, actually, the some sort of pictures, other images that are curved there, that are being presented. A little above the antique metal was hung a picture of the change of Philomela, and it looked as if a window opened upon a Sylvan scene of the fate of Philomela, so rudely raped by the barbarous king. Philomela was transformed into a nightingale, filled the desert with a sweet music. Even till today she continues to cry, and still the world listens to her, but her cry has been interpreted as the reaction of her rape to the dirty years of the modern man. The here in the text, jug jug to dirty years. This phrase refers to the ears of the modern man. The cries of that girl are being heard by the dirty ears of the modern man, and no one is there to feel sympathy for her. And other withered stumps of time were told upon the walls. Staring forms leaned out, leaning, hushing the room enclosed. Footsteps shuffled on the stair, under the firelight, under the brush. Her hair, spread out in fairy points, glowed into words, then would be savagely still. Many other carved figures and decorations dealing with the stories and myths of the past could be seen hanging on the walls of the drawing room. Staring images and carvings leaned out from the walls. The room appeared quite hushed and silent. Suddenly there was a sound of footsteps, which indicated that some visitor was about to enter the drawing room. The ladies sitting in that room got a little excited, and with the light of the fire started looking for her brush in order to keep her hair in form. She brushed her hair, which are spread out in fairy points, indicating her excitement. My nerves are bad too. My nerves are bad tonight. Yes, bad. Stay with me. Speak to me. Why do you never speak? Speak. What are you thinking of? What thinking? What? I never know what you are thinking. Thinking. Actually, that lady is there in her room, in her house, and a gentleman has come here, a person who has come to that lady, and she is speaking to her. And this situation is presented to indicate, to portray the sex in high society. Actually, that person is the lover of that lady. As the lover entered the drawing room, the lady said to him, "My nerves are bad tonight." "Yes, really bad. Please stay with me and speak to me." "Why do you never speak? Please speak. What are you thinking of?" "What thinking? What?" "I never know what you are thinking." Thinking. Then there is the reply of that lover. He says, "I think we are in Rat's Alley, where the dead men lost their bones." "What is that noise?" Actually, the lover says, the lover replied, "I think we are all in the Rat's Alley, where the dead men lost their bone." Rat's Alley means a narrow passage where the rats go in their shelters. So according to the lover of that lady, we all, the modern people, are in the narrow streets. We are living in the narrow shelters in the modern day life. Then, what is that noise? The wind under the door. The lady asks about that. What is the noise coming here? Then the lover replies, "The wind under the door." "What is that noise now? What is the wind doing?" "Nothing, again nothing." Do you know nothing? Do you see nothing? Do you remember nothing?" "I remember. Those are pearls that were his eyes." "Are you alive or not? Is there nothing in your head?" The theme of nothingness, the sense of nothingness, is being presented here. The lady asked, "What is that noise?" The man answered, "It is the wind under the door." The lady asked, "What is that noise now? What is the wind doing?" The man answered, "Nothing." The lady again asked, "Do you see nothing? Do you remember nothing?" The man answered, "I remember that those are pearls that were his eyes." This is line from Shakespeare's The Tempest. The reference of that line has been given here, right? The lady asked again, "Are you alive or not? Is there nothing in your head?" But oh, that Shakespearean rag, it's so elegant, so intelligent. What shall I do now? What shall I do? I shall rush out as I am and walk the street with my hair down so. What shall we do tomorrow? The lover says, the man answered, Oh, this was a line from Shakespeare's play. It is so beautiful and elegant, intelligent. The lady asked, What shall I do? She herself gave the answer. What shall I do means that she is now foreseeing, she is now planning about the next day, right? What shall we do tomorrow? Okay, what shall I do? She herself gave the answer. I shall rush out as I am and walk into the street with my hair down as it is. She asked again, What shall we do tomorrow? What shall we ever do? The hot water at 10, and if it rains, a closed car at 4, and we shall play a game of chess. Pressing lidless eyes and waiting for a knock upon the door. She says, She remembers actually their daily routine, what they do mostly, right? She remembers the routine hot water bath at 10. She says that in the morning we will just take the as routine bath at 10 o'clock, and if it rains, a drive in a closed car to the club at 4. There we shall play a game of chess, pressing upon eyes and waiting for a knock upon the door. This is the reference of Middleton's play entitled Women Beware Women. Actually, the game of chess, right? When she is saying that at the evening in the bar, in the club, we will play a game of chess, means that they will have relationship, physical relationship there, right? A game of chess actually symbolizes the physical relationship between the male and female. So actually she is referring towards the fact that this is the only routine of the modern society where men and women have this type of routine. Now from this line number 39, when Lil's husband got demobbed, from this line another story is being presented, right, in which the married life of the lower class is being presented. Before this, the single life, the unmarried life, where the male and female had a relationship without having a married relationship, right? But now from this line there is the story being presented regarding a husband and a wife, and the husband is being retired from army and he has come to home, and a friend of his wife is giving some advices to that lady. Lil is the wife of that person. The person's name is Albert, right? When Lil's husband got demobbed, I said means she is the lady. Here in this part of the poem, the speaker, the lady, there is some lady who is the friend of Lil, right? I said, I didn't mince my word. I said to her myself, hurry up, please, it's time. Now Albert's coming back. Make yourself a bit smart. He will want to know what you done with that money he gave you to get yourself some teeth. That lady. This is the story of the married life of Lil and Albert. Their relations are not quite happy on account of sex perversion. When Lil's husband was to be released from the army, her lady friend met her in the pub and told her quite frankly that now Albert was coming back from the army, she, Lil, should make herself a little smart and be attractive for him. Albert would certainly like to know what she did with the money which he gave her to get a new set of denture. You have seen that in the line number 44, to get yourself some teeth. Actually she had the problem with her teeth, and that was not making her attractive, so her husband gave her some money to get the new teeth from the dentist. So her friend is asking from her what she has done from that money. He did, I was there. You have them all out, Lil, and get a nice set. He said, I swear I can't bear to look at you, and no more can't. I said, and think of poor Albert. He has been in the army for 4 years. He wants a good time, and if you don't give it him, there's others will, I said. According to her, She was there when Albert gave her that money and remembered his words that should have she should have her teeth extracted and get a new set fitted in. As I have told you that she had some problem with her teeth, and her husband wanted that her teeth should be she should go to the dentist and get some new teeth fitted in her mouth. She told her, sorry, he told her that he could not bear to look at her, and that was quite true. It means that Albert was wanting her that she should look attractive and beautiful. That's why he gave her some money for teeth, right? Even the lady who talked Lil could not bear looking at her and thinking of poor Albert. The man had been in the army for 4 years, and now that he was free, he wanted a good time, right? As I told you that he was going to retire, right? And that lady, the friend of Lil, was giving advices to Lil that Lil should be very much beautiful and attractive before the coming back of her husband, because it is it has been along 4 years almost that he is in army and he has to come back to home, and it's necessary that they should have some good time and they should have some physical relationship, right? And if she says that if there were other women who would be glad to be so, that if Lil doesn't become attractive and beautiful and give good time to her husband, then there are other women also who would replace her. Lil said that if it was so, she knew whom to thank for ranking this trouble for pleasing her husband, and gave her the lady a straight, revealing look. She is very much concerned about that, right? And she says that it would be very much it would be her obligation to do it, right? Now we see that there is there are the phrases "hurry up, please, it's time." It is being spoken by the lady that is running the club where they are sitting, right? If you don't like it, you can get on with it, I said. Others can pick and choose if you can't. But if Albert makes off, it won't be for lack of telling. You ought to be ashamed, I said, to look so antique, and her only 31. She says that after the barmaid asked them to that the time is being ended and they have to go home, the lady told Lil that if she did not like her advice, she could do as she pleased. Others could pick and choose if she, Lil, could not. She warned her that if Albert left her, she would have to blame herself because she has had her advice. She told Lil that she, Lil, ought to be ashamed for looking so old, though she was only 31. Her age was 31, and it will be very shameful that she would be looking old. I can't help it. Now, this is the reply of Lil. I can't help it, she said, pulling a long face. It's them pills I took to bring it off, she said. She's had 5 already and nearly died of young George. The chemist said it would be all right, but I have never been the same. Now she is explaining her physical condition. Look at this line. Lil replied with a sad face that she could not help her looks because of the abortion pills, that she took to get rid of pregnancy. She had already 5 children, and she nearly escaped her death when the last child, George, was born. The chemist had assured her that the pills were safe, but she knew to her cost that they had ruined her health. She could never be what she was before taking the pills. Now, the lady uh, says to her, "You are a proper fool," I said. "Well, if Albert won't leave you alone, there it is," I said. "What you get married for if you don't want children?" The lady says, the lady told Lil Lil was a great fool. If Albert would not leave her alone, she had no other alternative but to live with him. Why did she get married if she did not want children? Marriage and children went together. Now, the war woman comes again. She says, "Hurry up, please, it's time." It's time means that this is the time to go home. Well, that Sunday, Albert was home. They had a hot gammon. They had a hot gammon. Gammon is actually the leg piece of the meat, or the leg piece of the pork, right? She was invited, that lady was invited by Albert and Lil at their home for a dinner, and they asked me into dinner and get the beauty of it hot. According to her, that Sunday Albert was at home. Lil and Albert, had a hot gammon, and they invited the lady to dinner to eat the hot dish. Now the bar woman also again asking them, "Hurry up, please, it's time. Hurry up, please, it's time. Good night, Bill. Good night, Lou. Good night, May. Good night, Ta-ta. Good night, good night. Good night, ladies. Good night. Sweet ladies, good night, good night." So, the barmaid again shouted that the pub was being closed. We bade good night to each other. We means all the ladies. They asked goodbye to each other and left. The last line, "good night," is taken from Ophelia's farewell in Hamlet, which symbolically sums up the tragedy of the married life of Lil and Albert. This tragedy means that they had not a good physical relationship between each other. They had a lot of age difference, and their relationship could not be as to the extent of their satisfaction, right? So in this part of the poem, two situations have been presented. The first situation is the house of that lady who was having the weight of her lover, and in the second situation, a couple is being presented, their married life is presented. In both the situations, every person in the modern life, in the modern world, is not satisfied with every sort of relationships, right? Whether it is married relationship, whether unmarried relationship, everyone is unsatisfied. And this situation has been presented by T.S.Eliot through the wasteland, as we discussed earlier, that the people of wasteland have just, you can say, the opposite attitude towards the natural processes, and this is also an example of that attitude. I hope you have got some ideas, some good ideas regarding this poem, and you have to learn it properly, and you have to take notes regarding this and prepare for your exam, and good luck to you. Thank you very much.